Yes, what's going on, you guys? Hope you're well. Welcome back to the channel. It is refreshing to be back because that means that Premier League football is back. It is also refreshing that myself is back at the top of the screen. No more Spurs at the top.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. Has to be that
Last
way.
one.
Yeah, absolutely. League judges couldn't make tonight. He's still in Dubai, sunning it up. So I thought I'd bring my good friend on. Igal, how are you, bro?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to go. Premier League football is back. And I don't know about you guys, but I hate the international break. I've watched way more international football this break, but I just don't like it. It's annoying. I love it when Premier League football is here and we have something to talk about on the weekend.
Absolutely, my guy. I'm with you there 100%. Sean, back in the house, repping the unbelievable armchair that like no other, let's be real. How are you, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm like a gal. I hate international football normally, but this time around, I was welcoming it because of the situation that Tottenham finds themselves in, and an extra couple of weeks gives some of their guys a bit of a chance to, somewhat recuperate. But yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
We're going to come to that because you need a few more weeks off from what I can look at, mate, as far as Tottenham's squad is concerned. But Henry, busy boy, man. Every time I see a stream, you're on it. How are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Yeah, the international breaks they're awful, aren't they? Let's be honest. I mean, the most exciting game I think was that Brazil-Argentina one. The rest of them were a bit like no one cares about England, North Macedonia, do they? But apart from that, I've just been sweating out FIFA. So yeah, I'm good. Premier League's back on, and we can actually talk about some good football.
Yeah, we can talk about some good football. That's where we're going to start. Again, I'm going to start with you because the news broke earlier. Fabrizio Romano announcing that Arsenal were getting this David Raya deal signed permanently. We might as well start there, bro. What's your thoughts on that? Is that a shock to you? Is that what you expected this early as well? Do you expect that announcement today?
I'm not surprised at all. I am not surprised one bit. He's made his bed. Mikel Arteta knows what he wants, and he wants Raya. Ramsdale's the backup, and I wouldn't be surprised if Ramsdale sold in the summer. This was all a part of the plan to test him out, and he I guess they've said he's done enough so far where they want him to be the number one going forward. And in my opinion, Raya is going to be the one that plays the Champions League games, the Premier League games, and Ramsdale's future at Arsenal doesn't go past this summer, in my opinion, unless he does something dramatic to change Mikel Arteta's mind come the end of the year.
Are you sad about that though, Ramsdale?
You know what? I've grown to like Ramsdale. I think he's a good guy. He has a good character. He's helped us get back into the Champions League and compete. But the thing is, Arteta sees him week in, week out and knows his faults more than we do, I would say, because there's certain things that they have had to compromise on. And there's certain interviews where I've heard things like his concentration, where he says he lacks concentration. And then he shows it in games where he's looking at a pigeon instead of focusing on the striker from Southampton coming at him. So it's like little things like that just make me think that Mikel Arteta might have already had this in his plans. And Dan, I don't know if you remember, but before we signed Ramsdale, who was our number one target? It was David Raya. It was actually David Raya. So I'm not surprised that Mikel Arteta ended up getting who he wanted, and just no compromise with Raya when he's able to do a little bit more of what he wants a goalkeeper to do. So I'm not surprised at all. But for Ramsdale, I'm kind of gutted, but I understand he'll move on and we'll probably get a good transfer fee. So win-win for everybody, hopefully, come the summer. I just want this goalkeeper situation resolved. I don't think having two number one goalkeepers is ever a good thing, and I don't want to see that ever again.
Well, listen, Henry, it's an interesting thing that's come up today to say, right, David Raya, you're now staying after Aaron Ramsdale was going to get his first start in what seems to be a long time this weekend, because obviously Raya can't play. It seems weird to announce this now. I didn't expect it. It doesn't shock me in terms of that he's staying, because I thought that we bought him to keep him, not just to trial him out. But does this just kind of make it dead cert that Ramsdale's leaving now in the summer to you?
Yeah, I think it was like when you always have two goalkeepers that are kind of on a par or very close to each other, eventually one of them's got to be number one. And when you brought Raya in, I mean, I was gutted because he was linked with us heavily before. Now we've got Vicario. I'm pretty happy about it. But like they're both good goalkeepers. I do think Raya out of the two is probably better. I don't think that video that got released has helped Ramsdale in any way. You know, that podcast clip has kind of given him some some bad vibes around him. And I agree with Gal. I think in the summer you'll move him on. He's just signed a new contract in the last year or so, so you'll probably plus English tax. I think someone like Chelsea could come in for him. He wants to apparently stay in London. I'm not a massive fan of that Sanchez. And let's be honest, you two clubs have got good relationships when it comes to buying and selling players. I think it was 15 or 16 players have played for both clubs in the last 15 years. So
Newcastle apparently wants him also, Henry.
I don't know. I think Pope's a good goalkeeper. The problem is, if he goes to Newcastle, you're going to get a similar situation. Does it then in 6 months force Pope out? Whereas I look at Sanchez and Ramsdale, he's clear. Like if he goes down there, plus Chelsea, I think now they've got Poch and now they've got Palmer playing well and other players. I think their trajectory will go towards Europe. Whereas I don't really Newcastle are in a bit of a sticky spot at the moment. I think Eddie Howe, like that December is a tough month for them. If they drop out the Champions League, I'm not saying he's going to get sacked, but it's a slippery slope. Look at the PR around Postecoglou, the first manager in Premier history to get 3 Manager of the Month awards. Loses against Chelsea, everyone's on his back. Loses against Wolves. If we lose to Villa and City, 4 defeats on a row, and then all of a sudden everyone's all over him like a tramp and not chips. I just feel, going back to Ramsdale, I feel that he is clear of Sanchez, and that, like, if you look across the rest of the league, other than Newcastle, where does he go? He's not going to go to a club that's below mid-table. Out of the big 6, Chelsea have probably got the worst goalkeeper. Man United are not going to get rid of Onana straight away. Probably makes the most sense logistically, and it's a win-win for Arsenal because they get the money back. They'll probably double his. What did you sign him for? Around 30 mil. You'll probably double that transfer value you got for him, and you've got a new number 1. So, like, from Arsenal, it's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it's interesting, Sean. Like, could Ramsdale push for a move in January, or do you think he'll see his time out with Arsenal for this year and just play in the cup games?
I'll be honest. I actually prefer Ramsdale to Raya. I really like. I've always liked Ramsdale. I know he's got a little bit of he's got a mistake in him occasionally, but in terms of what I've seen, listen. I'll take your word for it if you tell me I'm wrong on this one, because I don't watch Arsenal as closely as I watch Tottenham for sure. But most of the time I've seen Ramsdale, I've always been fairly impressed with him. I think he's a really good goalkeeper, and I don't know, Raya for me. I think a lot of Raya's value was bought into his distribution. People buying into his distribution skills, but a lot of the stuff a lot of his stats when he was at Brentford were born out of being able to bang the ball long, and then the goals that would come from Ivan Toney's knockdowns. Right, but Ivan Toney's one of the greatest, like, sort of target men number 9s in the Premier League, and I think that a lot of the value in Raya from that side was born out of Ivan Toney more so than anything else. I genuinely think that Ramsdale was, for me, if I was Arteta, I would have played Ramsdale over Raya. I didn't really understand the signing in the first place. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, I'm happy to be corrected if you guys think that's not the case. But I think Ramsdale's a really good goalkeeper, and if he does leave you guys, I think you guys will definitely be able to get a good fee for him, especially with English tax as well.
Let me just say this. I'm looking at the stats right now. So you have save percentages, saves made, long pass accuracy, ball recoveries, amount of touches he takes during a game, in addition to his long passes. Even last year with the percentage of clean sheets he has per games played, all these things in this season alone, he's been better than Ramsdale. And last season, if you look at it statistically, he's been better than Ramsdale. Now, it's going to hurt, but unfortunately, Mikel Arteta's made his choice, and I think Henry's 100% right. He might end up at Chelsea. And when he eventually ends up at Chelsea in the summertime, it's going to hurt, but it's going to be a move for him where he needs to progress his career. And
do you think Ray is a massive step up? Do you think, just quickly, do you think Ray is a significant step up on Ramsdale?
Not a massive step up.
I 1 second. I don't think eye test wise you can determine that, but based on what Mikel Arteta wants and how we play, I think Mikel Arteta wants somebody who takes more risks. Where Ramsdale, he kind of doesn't. He doesn't take as many risks against Man City. We've seen Raya doing things that if Ramsdale did it, people would have been like, "Whoa, that's shocking." But
Do
the
you think though,
reality,
as well, what on both performances we've seen so far, do you think, wow, there's no way Ramsdale's getting back in here? Like Raya's just different quality. I'm not so sure that I do.
no, I don't think it's a
Right.
standout performance in that aspect of. But one thing he is way better than Ramsdale at, I will tell you, is he comes and collects those crosses a lot more comfortably. Like I get it we scored against, he conceded against Newcastle and that was shaky. But majority of the games that we played this season, I felt a lot more comfortable knowing that Raya would come and collect that ball when it's getting crossed in, and it's not going to be a slap or a punch.
Mm.
One thing I say on Ramsdale as well, the Euros is only next summer. If he doesn't get a move until next summer, he's not going to be anywhere near that England's #1 spot. So if I'm him,
It's not.
I would be doing everything I can to force a move in January, right? Like, imagine hypothetically he joins Chelsea, has a fantastic 6 months. Chelsea are very, very close to the Champions League. Southgate, if it is, well, hopefully it's not Southgate, but whoever the England manager is, has got to be thinking, hang on, like maybe there is England's #1 there. If he doesn't and he sits on the bench and only plays the FA Cup games that you've got, where Ramsdale's not going to be anywhere near that team.
Was Ramsdale on the World Cup team? I forget.
Pickford, though. He's much better than Pickford.
Was Ramsdale on the World Cup team?
I don't think he's better than Pickford for England. I think Pickford, like in an Arsenal shirt against an Everton shirt, I think he's miles better than Pickford.
If there's question marks over Ramsdale for bad decision making, if that's the question mark, then that question mark is so much bigger with Pickford. How many absolute?
Not in an England shirt, there isn't no chance.
Pickford's
How many errors has he
Pickford's
made?
Always got an absolute calamity in him. If that's even a word. He's always got a mistake.
That's the problem with Gareth Southgate, though, is that he has not lost trust in Pickford or Maguire, even though neither of them are better than Ramsdale and Guehi, let's say. But they're not going to play.
Or Tomori.
Or Tomori, whoever. But for me, Gareth Southgate is going to pick Pickford and Maguire. Ramsdale has to be playing first-team football to get even a chance of getting in the squad, because I don't know if you saw Saturday Social with Cams and the guys, but they were all picking their England squad and they didn't put Ramsdale in it at all. They had Pope, Johnson and Pickford as their free keepers because Ramsdale's not playing. And to be fair, it's probably fair. If you're not playing, you can't really go on a plane, can you? Unless you're Maguire.
We all know, even if Ramsdale was the best goalkeeper in the Premier League like he was last season, that Pickford would still be starting in the Euros. Let's not lie to ourselves.
That's true.
Let's not act like this changes anything. We're talking about a second or third keeper for an England team. If Pickford's
I feel
healthy,
really harsh on Pickford. Like, I don't know if I
don't think it's harsh. I'm just saying.
Mate, he annoys me so much.
I
remember against Everton, he used to run out to the halfway line to have a row. Like he's such a chippy little git.
Let me just land this though. Let me just land this though. Are we all just saying these things for him to end up being the second or third choice? Because really and truly, unless there's an injury to Pickford, the goalkeeper situation for England is not going to change. That's my point.
Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. Yeah, Pickford is going to be the key.
Right now.
100%. Yeah.
So he has the ambition to be part of the team like he was during the World Cup, but really and truly, unless there's an injury, he's never going to get an opportunity to start in the Euros.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Interesting. I just thought it was a random time to announce it, but there we go. It come from Romano. The other thing that was random, of course, that everyone's talking about, sticking with Arsenal, again, I'll come back to you, is Gabriel Jesus. The comments were a little bit strange, but I think a lot of people have made it into a massive, massive thing. It seems that Arsenal have not kicked a ball, but everyone's piling on us. I don't quite know why. Maybe it's just fun to do. But Kai Havertz at left back, that was nothing to do with Arsenal or Arteta. Jesus making comments, that's nothing to do with Arsenal. He's with Brazil. Like, why are we all shitting on Arsenal? I don't get it. It's just random comments being made. And now it's like...
Do you know the honest truth? Why everyone's doing it?
Absolute crisis point, Arsenal. And I'm like, we haven't kicked a ball. What's going on?
Everyone's doing it. Everyone's doing it because you're playing well. As soon as you start playing well, you have a target on your back. Look at Man City. As soon as they got them 115 charges, it doesn't matter how good you are. Oh, but they got 115 charges. They got 100. Like, you win a treble.
Hold up. Half the reason that they are as good as they are is possibly because of the 115.
Well, at the moment, innocent until proven guilty. At the moment, innocent until proven guilty. So what
Henry, you're telling me they have nothing to banter us about. So anything they can banter us about, they hold on to it, right?
Yeah, that's what they do. It's what football fans do. Look at us, right? What was the analogy I was just going to use? It was perfect. I'll come back.
I'll be the judge of that when you figure it out.
Look at as soon as you start playing well, and certain things in that don't go to plan, they're all over you. I'll be honest. Gabriel Jesus is a weird one. Like,
Yeah,
you can't. I look. You're not getting in an Arsenal team, and then all of a sudden you're training for Brazil doing overhead kicks. The second thing is, right, and I'm probably going to get pelters from this, right? And I know the rest of his game is good, but fundamentally, as a striker, you're number one, unless you're Bobby Firmino, which Gabriel Jesus is a similar profile to. Fundamentally, your job is to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
Right. We can all agree on that. Don't come out and say, goal scoring is not my main attribute. You're just asking for it. You're asking for people to pile on you. If he said, I haven't been at my best, I need to improve, everyone would be like, okay, fair enough.
yeah, I agree with that. I agree
Don't
with
come
that.
out and say,
What he actually said was fairly honest. Like,
Yeah,
look,
yeah.
you know, but I don't think the way that it's been brought out by the media was exactly what he said. Like, Gabriel can't score goals. Jesus ain't a striker. Arsenal need to go and get a Tony, otherwise they're finished as a club. And I'm like, let's calm down. The guy just said he's not really at the best at scoring at the moment. Like, he wants to score goals. He will score goals. If
you do
actually
need a
look what he
number
said-
9 regardless, though, even if Jesus
100% we need a new striker, but that's not now Gabriel Jesus made comments, Arsenal better go and get another striker. We need another striker regardless of these comments. And the other thing I don't like, before I bring you in, Agal, Jesus is a quality player, and people are making out now like he's some dead striker that like Arsenal need to get rid of because he can't score a goal. And I'm like, he was a massive reason as to why we did so well last season. And players around him like Saka and Martinelli, their levels raise when Jesus is in the side. Yes, he needs to keep fit. That's probably one of my biggest frustrations. But he's made some bad word in there. Maybe it's been lost a bit in translation. But if you look at the actual quote itself, it didn't say, I don't score goals, I'm rubbish.
Yes.
And that's how people are making it out to sound. That's all I'm saying. Igal, have you frozen? Yeah, he has.
Yeah, he's got a Weetabix
Come on,
Wi-Fi
Henry.
box. He's got a Weetabix Wi-Fi box. Jesus, like the rest of his game, I think is very, very, very good. Like, but I'm not piling on Arsenal, but you can see why Man City sold him, right? You can see.
I'm pretty sure that didn't you say to me on the phone the other day when you were talking about Jesus?
Hang on. Private conversations. What happens on the streams are two completely different things.
I was in the middle of a text
I want to hear this.
I was in the middle of a text message. And I was listening to your answer, and I was like, "Hang on a minute, that's absolutely 180 on what you said to me the other day on the phone." Do you want to
part of
say
me thinks it's disgusting, and I did make a TikTok about it. That you can't be coming out and doing that. If Harry Kane comes out and says, what's Kane? Well, I can't really. Kane's not a good example. If Richarlison come out and said, "I'm not a goal scorer," we'd be crucifying him. We'd be going, "Hang on, why have we spent £60 million on a striker then? If your main attribute is to not score goals." The only thing that I'd say on Jesus is the rest of his game is good, but he's not a striker for me. You got to play him out wide. You have to play him out wide. But then where does he go? Because he's not.
So you agree with him when he says, "I'm not a goal scorer,"
agree.
and you think he's not a striker?
I agree with part of it, but like if you are playing as a number 9, I don't agree that you can't. If your position in an Arsenal shirt is to play through the middle, you cannot come out and say you're not a good goal scorer. That's the first point. The second point is the rest of your game outside of goal scoring is.
So what's his best position then, Henry?
Winger.
Tell me what he thinks and tell me what you think, because clearly you believe the same thing, but you're just not prepared to say it on a stream. Let's
hang on. Jesus' words have been reworded, and so are mine. I'll say it again. I don't think Jesus is good enough for Arsenal to win a title. You need a goal scorer that's going to score you 20 a season.
Yeah, and I don't think that's another question for me, but that is a different debate. But for me, if you look at what he said, this is what he said. The goal is inevitable. I believe it's not my strong point, but I do score goals, and I'm there to score goals. That is not, I can't score goals.
How many goals did he get last season?
I think it was about 12, but he was injured for 3 months. So I don't think he's as bad as people are making out. I don't think he's good enough to win a title. I agree with you. I think we need more. Ivan Toney and him together, I think, would be a better
Would you swap him for Toney right now?
Swap them for Toney? I would rather have Ivan Toney. Yeah, I would. But I do think that Jesus has got a massive, massive part to play still. So I'd like to keep both. There's no point in swapping one of them. You've got to get 2 strikers, in my opinion. Eddie ain't the guy. But if you were asking me if I could only have one, I would take Ivan Toney because I think he's better all round. I think Jesus is a really good player. I think his link-up play is great. His press is probably one of the best that I've seen.
What about Watkins? Watkins or Jesus?
I'd have Jesus over Watkins, but I do think I would have Ivan Toney over Watkins.
You take Jesus
Watkins
right
is a
now
good
over
player,
Watkins.
man. Watkins is a good player. I like him,
Yeah,
but
I'd
I
take
feel
over
like
Watkins.
all round, I think Jesus is a better footballer than Watkins.
Hang on.
Yeah, definitely.
You right now, categorically, you can say you would take Gabriel Jesus over Ollie Watkins.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah,
I think
100%, Poz.
Ollie Watkins is a
agree.
very good player, but I think you're underappreciating Gabriel Jesus.
No, but if you put Watkins in an Arsenal team, he scored 16 or 18 goals. How many last year for Villa?
Different system.
He's outscoring Jesus 1,000,000%. He's already scored more than any player you've got other than Saka, isn't he?
I don't know how many goals Watkins has got.
I think he's got 6
4.
goals, 5 assists in 12.
We got 4 of those against Brighton.
Doesn't
Different
matter if you
system.
can't see what Watkins is doing, mate. You can F off down at Birmingham City.
I like Ollie Watkins, and I'd take him over Eddie Nketiah all day long, but I'm not so sure I would take him over Jesus. But
I agree.
What about Callum Wilson?
Nah.
Isaac?
Yeah, I'd take Isak. I think he's class. Absolutely love Isak. But I think Jesus is, for me, a really underrated player. And I think a lot of people see him as he wasn't good enough for Man City. I think he won 7 trophies with them.
And the thing is, as well, most of his games he didn't play through the middle for City. They played him out wide.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Well, they had Aguero, didn't they? But I feel like a lot of people are now looking at them comments and just shitting on Jesus, and I think it's unfair. Personally, I think it's a silly comment to make.
It is unfair, but I do respect it.
Yo, sorry about that, guys. My internet's acting.
No, it's calm, Miguel. Don't worry about it.
I was just gonna say,
Henry's asked, trying to tell me that we would be better with Callum Wilson or.
I didn't say Callum Wilson. I said Ollie Watkins.
Jesus. I'd rather have Jesus than Watkins. Is that a mad thing?
Also, Gal, just before you come in, mate, Henry's also rewound what he said about
this is madness.
Jesus as well. He forgot what he told me on a private thing. He forgot what he did on a TikTok. He's now
hang on. No,
coming to terms with the duplicity that's going on here.
On a TikTok, I said Gabriel Jesus is not good enough for Arsenal to win a Premier League title. As a number 9, he's not. Let's be real. Name a Premier League team over the years as a number 9 who hasn't scored minimum of 16 goals. You can't name one.
Man City.
Other than Bobby Firmino.
Man City.
Erling Haaland scored flipping 38
before Erling Haaland. Let's
it
be
was
honest.
Jesus.
Man City exactly. It was Jesus and they went sayonara.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is I don't think Jesus is good enough.
Let me just land on this quickly. I need to talk about Arsenal's PR team. You have Ramsdale coming out saying he's bad at concentrating. You have Zinchenko saying he's bad at defending. You have Gabriel Jesus coming out saying he can't. His main attribute is not goal scoring as a striker. Why are they not talking? I'm pretty sure Mikel Arteta does not want these guys coming out in interviews telling our opponents their weaknesses.
Yeah, but at the same time, I bet you in the next year, Zinchenko, Ramsdale both leave, and there'll be big question marks over Jesus if you sign Toney. So,
I don't think we're going to sign Toney. I think Jesus is getting disrespected based on what people are saying about him last night. The other night, what people were saying about him is utterly disrespectful. The guy has scored 1 goal in the league, yes, but he hasn't played much this season in the league compared to how much he's played in the Champions League. In the Champions League, he's played with the best, some of our best teams and some of our best players, and he has 3 goals in the Champions League. He's one of the top goal scorers in the Champions League. What is that? Fireworks?
Wow, Sean, that is incredible.
That caught my eye right there. But yeah, I want to give Gabriel Jesus a big shout out. Because he's being honest. He's saying my strength is not my finishing, not goal scoring, finishing. Everyone knows he's not a good finisher. What he's good at is his all around game, which maybe makes me think let's utilize him as somebody who can play across the front 3, bring in another striker, and having him as another striker option would be amazing. But some of the people saying play him left center mid like Joe Linton, we might try it, but I don't know if that's the way to go. I think people need to relax with all the Joe Linton comparisons, because comparing him to Joe Linton is a little bit too far, in my opinion.
Would you?
I don't
Would you
like
have,
Rich
Miguel,
Ellington is a mad one.
would you have Ollie Watkins over Gabriel Jesus? Because
100%.
Henry would.
It's not even 100%.
Would I have
I
Ollie
wouldn't.
Watkins over Gabriel Jesus?
I'd have
I think he's a
Jesus.
better finisher. I would rather have Ollie Watkins over Eddie Nketiah.
That's what I said.
Oh, you
but-
started getting me going there. You was like, he's a better finisher. I was like, come on, Gal, just say it. Get it. Come on, let's get it. Let's get it out.
Ollie Watkins this season has been the second best striker in the league. No debate.
For me, like, for like, I'm not putting Haaland as number one. I don't care if he scored 12
different
goals.
system, different circumstance.
Yeah, but
Man
like,
has 6 goals, 5 assists. Aston Villa are fifth in the
It's a
table.
completely different
Big
style
part
of play.
of it.
Aston Villa play a completely different style.
He's playing shitty. Sorry for swearing. Stink house, Brexit, like get a goal and sit back. Now he's that's the style Emery plays. As soon as they get a goal, they wait for you to come on them and then they just counter.
What, Aston Villa at home? No, they don't.
They're not watch them away from home.
We're going to find out on Sunday, aren't we? But I know. Listen, I'm very much aware
That's
of how Villa
that's
play away from home.
disrespectful to Emery, man. He's been quality.
I'm Emery's biggest
different style
fan.
of football.
Everyone knows I'm Unai Emery's biggest fan, but his style of play is get a goal, wait for you to come at him, and then he counters you.
Listen, I think Ollie Watkins would be a good signing for Arsenal. Don't get me wrong, but I think we're underrating Jesus for what he is. And Ollie Watkins, like when he's like been asked to step up, I looked at his England performances. The ball don't stick to him, man. The ball don't stick to him. He's got to have it in front of him. Jesus can hold it up, link up play. The ball don't stick to Watkins. That's why I take Tony all day long.
Yeah, Jesus is all round games better, but as a number 9, you've got to take Watkins.
This is what I would say. We have one more issue. If he continues to get injured every season and this turns into Thomas Partey 2.0, that's where we have to move on. That's where we have to move on. And maybe when we have him as a secondary piece similar to City, we now know why City didn't have him as an out-and-out striker playing week in, week out. Because 1, he breaks down quite easily, and 2, he just maybe not suited to every game.
Sean, what's your thoughts on this one? Striker at Arsenal, Gabriel Jesus, is he being disrespected? And do you think that we will go and get a Watkins or a Tony?
Yeah, I'll keep it really brief. I think I love Gabriel Jesus. I think he's awesome. I would much rather. I remember when you signed him and Tottenham signed Richarlison. I remember seeing Arsenal channels saying, "Oh, I would take Richarlison over Jesus." And I remember I was always like, "Why?" I've always been anti Richarlison. Not to get off the point. Love Jesus. I think he's awesome. I think he does so much off the ball. I think he's running. I think the way he finds gaps, channels. I think he's just a brilliant player. I agree with you guys. Not Henry. I think Jesus over Watkins. And yeah, the only name of the 4 that you mentioned that I probably would rather have would be Isaac, I think. And I think Jesus is a really good player. But I do think that you need someone else alongside him. I think Ivan Toney will be exquisite.
I think Jesus over Tony as well, Sean.
Well, sorry, what's that?
You take Jesus over Tony and Watkins?
No, I think for what Arsenal need, I think you've got enough creativity, but you don't have a finisher. So if you had to pick one of Jesus or Tony, I think you'd pick Tony. But I think the dream scenario would be to keep both of them. I think you could play. Imagine like you've got your ability to build play up the way you do naturally, but imagine just doing occasionally when needs must. You got Raya banging the ball up like he did for 2, 3, 4 years, whatever it was at Brentford with Tony. And then Tony just wins everything in the air, just knocking the ball down to Jesus. I think it would just be a way for you guys to find additional XG, additional conversions. So for me, I think it would be wonderful to keep both. But if you had to pick one or the other, if it meant selling Jesus to make room for Tony, I think Tony makes more sense for what you need, given everything else. But yeah, that doesn't mean I'm being disrespectful to Jesus. I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, fair, man. Listen,
just on last year, that Watkins and Tony had the same amount of in-play goals. I feel like we are extremely disrespecting Watkins here.
No, I don't think we're disrespecting Watkins as a footballer. I just think I would prefer Jesus over him.
But you need a finisher. You've got the rest of your team to do everything else. You need someone to put the ball in the back of the net. And he's doing that with less chances in a worse team.
If the question is, do you want Arsenal to sign Watkins? That's different to, do I want him over Jesus? Because both of them would be fine. But I don't feel personally like, as a footballer, he's better than Jesus.
No, that's what I'm not saying that.
Watkins or Tony?
As an all-round game,
right?
better.
Yeah, you pick Tony over Watkins, Henry, right?
100%.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But as a finisher, I'm saying Watkins is lightning clear of Jesus as a finisher, and that's what you're crying out for. As a footballer, technically, Jesus is miles better. His touch is better. He can hold the ball up better. He's better running in behind and running of the ball. But in front of goal, I'm picking Watkins over him every day and twice on Sundays.
And I like Watkins. I've not got anything against him as a player. I'm just looking at
You've
his
also got
stats.
Trossard as well, who can come in and score goals.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to be short of goals anytime soon.
So to
I
be
just
fair
need
to
to see
Watkins,
something.
he has scored goals. He scored 14, 11 and 15 in the last 3 seasons.
I just need to tell you guys something, though. I just seen something. The Athletic released like this document today on Twitter. I seen some guy talking about it, where the team with the most allowing the most progressive passes and in which areas of the pitch. Arsenal are not allowing progressive passes anywhere compared to the rest of the league. We have the least we have the best defense overall in the league at this moment in time. So if we can win majority of our games based off the back of our defense, we don't need to score 4 or 5 goals every game. We can win majority of these games 1-0, go back to our old roots. And if that's the case, we can still win the league. The best defense can win the league. It doesn't always have to be the best.
Yeah, but that's not Arteta, though, is it? Arteta likes to play.
Are you still thinking that you're going to win the league?
This season, ask Dan. Our game has been more predicated to our defense being our strength.
Yeah, no, and your midfield, and I think you're 13th in the Premier League at most key passes. I think Brentford are like 3rd.
Yeah,
what are we doing?
And guess what? Even
do Arsenal have a chance of winning the league because they're somewhere in the mid-table from key passes? Are Arsenal going to win the league? No, not going to happen this year. Never going to happen this year.
You want to know something?
When Jesus, or even if Tony comes in January, you're not winning the league this year. Sorry, I'm staking my claim.
If they got Tony,
I'll tell you this. A strong defense, which is one of the best defenses in the league. Even though you're talking about our attack not creating as many chances as Liverpool, for example, we have 1 less goal than Liverpool this season. We have the best set piece setup in the league. We've scored the most goals from set pieces, and of course, we've been fortunate with some penalties. But overall, I do think it will become when we have our full attack back and healthy. Now that we have Jesus, Martinelli, and Saka actually healthy,
who scored more out of Arsenal and Villa?
What?
Who scored more goals out of Arsenal and Villa?
Probably Villa.
Yeah, they have.
Villa.
Yeah,
probably Villa. In the league, Henry.
I'm not saying they are, but like. I don't know, man. I think
you want to know something? Statistically, as a team, Arsenal have not been good in the attacking end of the game. But guess what? What we've been the best at is conceding the least chances, the least shots on goal, the least goals, tied with Liverpool. We have the most clean sheets. And my point is, defensively, for this solid, you could see a Chelsea type season where we win it based off the back of our defense.
You're not winning the league, mate.
Hey, you keep saying.
Tell you what. If you believe it, Igal, if you win the league, if Arsenal win the league, I will go out and buy a 4XL Arsenal shirt and I will wear it for 4 streams. If you
full screening, full screening quickly.
Full screen. You got to wear a Tottenham shirt. You got to wear a Tottenham shirt for 4.
Why do I have to wear a Tottenham shirt? I'm not the one making the bet.
You're part of the bet. You're part of the bet, aren't you?
One second. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, but if you can't see what Arteta's doing, mate,
it's either you fully back. One second. It's not a thing where you wear a shirt for what am I gaining? Like, honestly, if I win the league, I win the league. If I don't win the league, it's the field. Arsenal versus the field is not logical.
It's a bit of fun. If you don't want a bit of fun, it's fine. There's no problem.
No, but you get what I'm saying.
I don't think Arsenal are going to win the league.
You get what I'm saying, though. Arsenal versus the field is not even close to a comparison to just saying, "Oh, do you think Arsenal will win it or not?"
Well, look. We've got Ollie Watkins has scored in the last 3 seasons, he's got 15, 11 and 14. And Jesus in the last 3 years has got 11, 9 and 14. So
it's not that big difference. It's not a huge
difference.
Exactly. That's my point. It's less.
Arsenal.
Yeah, but Henry, he's not the main focal point of
If Gabriel Jesus was at a smaller team,
Villa,
he would be spoken about as the best player outside of the.
Imagine if Jesus was at Villa, you'd be going, get that Jesus in the Arsenal side, wouldn't you? That's
Bro, if he was at Crystal Palace, even.
Well, yeah. Anyway, let's move on from Jesus. Let me just stick with you 1 second, Igal. Midfield and centre forward is being linked with Arsenal, right, in January. Do you think we'll get either? Do you think we'll get just one? And what would you like to see happen, mate?
prioritize the midfield. We can survive with what we have as goal scorers. If we create more chances, we'll score more goals. Get a better midfielder in there, because I feel like we're gonna miss that extra midfielder, especially with Thomas Partey not being reliable with his injuries, and since losing Granit Xhaka and Kai Havertz not working right away, we do need more bodies in the midfield. So I would rather get us a midfielder, and I think the goals will come once you have a solid midfield.
And I mean, Douglas Luiz, Zubimendi. I'm
I'll
hearing
take
these
Douglas
rumors.
Luiz. I think Zubimendi in January won't happen. If we get Douglas Luiz in, I think he replaces Partey. Not quality wise, but based on the age, the profile, I think it would be Declan Rice, Douglas Luiz, and Martin Odegaard going forward, and he would be that left 8 that will help contribute with goals and push forward and defend. You're not a fan, I can tell.
Listen, it's not that I'm not a fan. I like Douglas Luiz. I do. I think he's a good player. I don't know that is the player we need to take us to a title. I think Partey, Rice, and Odegaard is better than Luiz, Rice, and Odegaard. And
guess what? Partey's not reliable then.
Exactly. And if Partey's not about, then could we do better? And what I mean by that is, could we do better than Douglas Luiz? So could we get Rice as the 6 and a better number 8? Or do we get Rice as the 8 and a better number 6? And I don't know. I think maybe we could. I don't know who that is.
You're going to go out and spend like another 150, 200
I think that's the summer, Henry. I don't think that's January, bro. I don't think we've got 120 million to spend in January.
I think we're cutting it close with FFP. If we make one signing, maybe one signing potentially, but we cannot continue to make so many signings with no gains in income.
No, I'm with you. Okay, wicked. Let's.
Ivan Toney's not happening, in my opinion, in January. I believe
he's going to go Chelsea.
He's going to probably.
I think he'll stay till the summer. I think he'll get fit, and I think he'll go big in the summer somewhere. I don't know where it will be.
I don't like it, but I think we're going to do another. I think we're going to try to go to Brighton for that Evan Ferguson in the summer. I don't like it though.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's potential again, isn't it? We're buying
Evan Ferguson.
Yeah.
Who's going to be able to pay 110, 115 million pounds? I don't think there's a team in the Premier League that has that much wiggle room in FFP to do that. I think Brighton have priced that player at a level that
do you think he's worth
require an incredible amount of offlaying of assets.
I mean, he looks a very good player, Sean, but do you think he's worth 115 million? He scored like a hat-trick at Newcastle once. Like that's
you're pricing in perfection.
I think he's good, but come on, man. Jeez, that's a lot of money.
No, it's ridiculous.
He's 18 years old. He's injury prone. He's missed more games this season than he's played. And at 115 million pounds, you are pricing in absolute perfection.
We need finished products for those kind of money.
Yeah. 110 million is like a Rice. I'm happy to pay that for Rice. He's a finished article.
The thing is,
I'm happy to pay 80 million for Ivan Toney, but a lot of Arsenal fans aren't.
No, I would.
The thing is, you're paying for what you're paying for is a potential. He's 19. If you said,
but how much is he ever going to be in a resale market? Even if you sign him and he does.
Well, it depends how you look at it.
I don't need more kids, Henry. That's the honest truth.
Okay, but hypothetically, let's say you can play devil's advocate. If he signs
in 3 years' time, is he going to be worth 200 million pounds?
Would you sign him at Tottenham?
A 19-year-old on the planet is going to be worth 200 million pounds.
Would you sign him to replace Harry Kane?
No.
Long term,
I'd love him for 60 million, 70 million quid.
Yeah, long term,
110 million pounds. You are pricing him, and all you've seen from the guy so far is that he's very young. He's built like a man. He's got a lot of potential, but he's also injury prone. Like it's so early on him. And I think that anyone that was to pay that much money right now, you are rolling the dice with your club's future financial sustainability. It's bonkers. If anyone does it, they are insane. Because there's no way that the market can with the FFP rules the way they are, and the fact that they're getting tighter, that next year you have 80% maximum that you can spend as a percentage of your revenue, and you've got to combine your wages, transfer fees, and agents fees. And then the year after that, it becomes 70%. You're going to see more and more clubs up against FFP. 100 million pound, 115 million pound is 20%, 25% of the revenue of all of the biggest clubs, apart from Manchester City and Manchester United anyway. It's unworkable for nearly every single club. And on top of that, when you know that the player has so much risk associated with him anyway, anyone who does it is
he's paid He's only missed one game all season.
Oh, he hasn't. He's been
He's
injured.
played 11 out of 12 games in the league this season with
Has
5
he?
goals.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
my
guess
bad.
what? Eddie
Either way.
Nketiah has 5 goals.
Doesn't change. It
All
doesn't
that
change the
being
narrative.
said, don't buy
That being
Ferguson.
said, it's a bargain. No, I still think the point remains that you're pricing in perfection for a player who's 18 years old. 115.
You're right,
million.
Sean. You
Mate,
spend
if you get-
110 million.
I would rather- I would
rather.
rather we get Ivan Toney, Victor Osimhen, or if we don't get one of those two, I would say go get a level raiser that can actually fix this team, because I don't think any of these young strikers coming up
Like who though?
benefit us. Personally, for me,
Vlahovic, you mean? Vlahovic.
no. This is crazy. But if there's a situation where you can go to AC Milan and you can go get Rafael Leao and transform him into a striker, or you can somehow go and get.
You're talking like 150.
I'm talking crazy money now. If you can go get Victor Osimhen, you can go get a Rafael Leao, and if something crazy happens with Real Madrid where they want to sell Vini or Mbappe's leaving PSG, those are the kind of guys who can change your team. Don't tell me.
No, we're not getting Mbappe. Or
I know, but I'm saying realistically, none of these guys, Evan Ferguson, are worth the kind of money that they're trying to give me. They're trying to tell me it's not worth it.
Well, we'll see. I think we need a centre forward. I think we need a midfielder, and I want to see it happen in January. But I know it's not going to. I've accepted that. So we're gonna have to see what we do. It's gonna have to be Eddie at the wheel if Jesus gets injured. I'm afraid, which we know doesn't work to win a title.
I start Trossard on
100%. I would start Trossard. Before we move from Arsenal, let's just quickly mention that game. Henry, Brentford, you've been there. It's a tough game, actually. I think did you draw there? It's actually quite a tough
first game of the season. They had
yeah. We've been there before. We're going to have Ramsdale in goal. We've actually beaten him in the cup. Where do you see this one going, bro?
I think you'll win. I think you'll win 2-0 against Brentford. I look at it's a tough place to go. And they are actually in form. I don't think they've lost a game at home all season. But I think you're too strong for them. That being said, it wouldn't surprise me if Brentford pull a draw out. I don't think you'll lose the game. I don't know what you've been like after the international breaks either. With us, we haven't started particularly great, and we've been a bit slow. But with you guys, I'm not sure what you've been like after international break. Big questions have got to be asked about.
We've won or we drew.
You've won and you drew. Yeah, so you haven't been fantastic. Brentford, plus haven't you got a Champions League game midweek as well?
Yeah, Wednesday.
So you might have one eye on that, but I think you're basically qualified, haven't you already, or you're very close to?
Yeah, we've got to lose both by heavily to go out of it. Basically, we got.
I think you'll win. I think you'll win 2-0.
I think, yeah.
I don't think Gabriel will start though. Didn't he play quite a few minutes for
Brazil? All the
Brazil?
Gabbies played. You had 90 minutes from all three, I think, and Jesus, Martinelli, and Gabriel all played for Brazil. So they got to come back. I think I'm with Miguel. I think Trossard should start and Jesus should come on. I think Martinelli will probably start on the left though, and Gabriel. Yeah, I imagine he'll start, but I don't know. I mean, it's more Jesus just come back from injury, hasn't he? So I think that's the reason. But I'm with you. I'm actually going with the same score prediction. I think Arsenal win 2-0. I don't think it's going to be an easy 2-0 though. I do think it's tight. They're hard to break down. They play 5 at the back. Obviously, Mbeumo, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the Prem. I mean, he's such a good talent, man. I'm surprised no one's looked at him.
How old is he? He's like 24, 25, isn't he?
He's not that old. Yeah, he's not that old. He's about that. Yeah, and I just rate him. I just think he's class.
He looks about 50.
He does.
He does look like he's wise beyond his years, but yeah, he's a brilliant player.
He's a good player though, man. And but I'm going 2-0. Sean, what are you saying?
Yeah, I don't think Brentford away is a place anyone wants to go. I think there is a potential banana skin for Arsenal here. I'm going to say 2-2. I'm going to say Wissa and Mbeumo to score for Brentford, and I think you guys will have a tough day in the office. I think there'll be a reason, there'll be some drama, but I'm going to say 2-2. Score draw.
So the reason why we're going to draw is because there's going to be a reason. There's going to be drama.
There's always drama, but I think it will be 2-2 either way. I'm not sure which way the drama will be, but I think there'll be a talking point after the game. VAR will be involved or something. But I just think Brentford at home are a brilliant team. And I think that
Get on the
they
counter
always.
attack as well. That's what they're.
Give
I
me
think
one tangible reason why we're gonna draw.
And Buemo, how about that? That reason enough?
I'll be honest. I think when it comes to
Hang
like,
on, wait, hang on a second. Give me one tangible reason why you think we're going to draw. You're going away to Brentford. Brentford always takes scalps at their place. That's cocky, Igal. The football
No,
gods are
it's
listening,
not
mate.
cocky.
The football gods are
What you
listening.
said, I'm just challenging what you said because you basically sat here and
Brentford
said,
away. Brentford
once
away is a
again,
place that no one wants to go.
you
It's one of
basically
the-
you know,
said,
like Everton
you
went there
basically
and
said, I have a
played
feeling they're gonna drop points. I have no reason. I just have a feeling there's gonna be
I didn't say
VAR,
no
something's
reason.
gonna
I didn't
happen.
say no reason. My reasons are thus.
No,
Brentford
I
away.
am basically imitating what you said without
You're not
being
listening to
saying
what
word for
I'm
word.
saying. I've given you reasons. Brentford away is a place that no team wants to go. It's one of the
Generic.
it's one of the three teams outside of the top six that no one wants to go to. Palace,
Generic.
Brentford is what?
Generic, because Arsenal have picked up
Generic.
points even with
You asked
injuries.
me for a reason. I'm saying you're going away from home. It's not easy to win away from home anyway. Number two,
Arsenal
you're
are
going
better
to
away from
Brentford,
home.
a team that always gets scalps every single season at home against top six teams. Number three, Mbeumo is one of the best left wingers in the league. Number
Right winger.
four,
Right winger.
Wissa is all. They've got a lightning quick attack. Like I don't know. Like listen. You can be uber confident. That's fine. I'm just saying. I think there's a potential banana
No,
skin.
I
for
leave
you.
the Uber Eats stuff to the Uber Eat League. We're serious here. When it comes to Arsenal versus Brentford, bro, Brentford defensively, we are going to shut them out. Defensively away from home, we focus on keeping the clean sheet first.
Well, you lost your last away game, didn't you?
Yes, we did because of refereeing decisions. No, seriously. Listen, actually, we haven't lost a game this season. That game doesn't count. Let's talk serious.
Don't you mean it doesn't count?
Oh
It's
my
just
God.
happened.
Let's talk serious now. On a serious note, I do believe
Dan,
Brentford.
can
You still did the
put in
invincibles,
full screen?
Igal.
You put in full screen to explain why Brentford have got no chance at home.
Okay, I never said they have no chance. All I'm saying is defensively, we're so solid that we shut down shops even away from home. That's what we focus on first. We're gonna break them down once we get our goal. It's gonna be 2-0 for me, 2-0 easy. The reason being, we got our attack backfiring. Our defense is fully healthy, and Ramsdale is gonna be wanting to. Ramsdale and the whole team is going to be galvanized to try to get him an opportunity going forward. So I think the fact that Ramsdale is going to be starting this game also is going to be an extra fire up the defense's ass to get that clean sheet away from home. And if you guys don't know, this season away from home, we've actually been better defensively than we have been at home. So that's why I'm going with the 2-0 Arsenal victory.
There you go. 2-0 Arsenal. And to be fair, it's 2-0 all round other than Sean, who thinks that we might have a banana skin. Let's see what happens. We're going to move it on to Spurs. I know we've spoken Arsenal quite a bit, but we seem to be in the news quite a lot at the moment, Arsenal, for no reasons. But the other team that are in the news for the wrong reasons, injury-wise, is Spurs. Sean, have you actually got a team to put out, mate, at the weekend? I mean, I'm looking at your team. I know Vicario is going to be in goal, but I don't know what your back line is going to be. So I'm going to ask you to talk us through that. I don't know what your midfield is going to be because I don't know you've got suspensions there. But I know your front three is probably going to be Kulusevski's son and Brennan Johnson, from what I believe. Yeah. But other than that, I don't know. It's guess as good as mine, mate. So talk us through it, bruv.
Yeah, so I'll caveat this by saying I think that we're in trouble this weekend. I think the Villa are going to be too strong, even though I don't think they're as good away from home as they are at home. But I think that the 11 I would suggest is probably going to be Vicario. Udogie has said he is fit, even though he got pulled out of the Italian squad. He is fit. And then so I think you're going to see Porro, Udogie, and in the middle, I think you're going to see Dyer and Davies. Ash Phillips, who was the one option that we had, who was 18, who's might have been good enough. He got pulled out of the England under-21s with an injury. So another injury to add to the list. I think that Bissouma, well, I know that Bissouma is suspended. I think that Bentancur will come in. And then you've got Pape Sarr. And the number 10 role is up for debate. A lot of people think that Lo Celso should come in. I guess that's the best we can really go with. Or you could make an argument, not that we haven't seen it, so I don't think we will, but you could make an argument to ping Decky in on the right, and then you could put Decky into the centre, Brennan Johnson on the right, and then Brian Hill out on the left with Sonny. I'd rather see that formation because I have zero faith in Lo Celso. But it's we're pretty thin on the ground at Tottenham right now.
Henry, it don't look good, man. Obviously, I said to you a few weeks ago, you got to keep Maddison and Bissouma fit. It looks like Maddison, Bissouma, and Romero are out along with Van der Ven. I said you're an injury away from Dyer coming back in, but you've actually got 2 centre backs now injured. Are you worried, mate, this weekend?
Absolutely. With that high line up against Leon Bailey, Moussa Diaby, and the guy we've been talking about most of the show, Watkins. I'll be honest, and we've only got 2 centre backs fit now, as Sean said, in Dyer and Davis. If one of those get a knock, I don't know what we're going to play against Man City. Like, against West Ham and Newcastle, we'll have Romero back, but I think the Kulusevski's getting a little bit predictable, running down the right, cutting in on his left. Brennan Johnson didn't look too great throughout the majority of the Wolves game. He looked like, after 35 minutes, he looked like he played 120. He looked really burnt out. Son had, Tesco Mobile, 0 service the whole game. He made 5 or 6 runs, and the only one to give him a pass in the Wolves game was Porro. Villa will sit deep. There won't be any space in behind. They'll set up to counter us. Unai Emery classic. Douglas Luiz, McGinnon, and Kamara in the midfield. It will be tough, especially without Bissouma. I don't know if Bentancur is going to be 100% match fit. I look at Sarr as well. He's the one who's got the legs, but then who plays in the 10 role? I look at Lo Celso and go, like, I see a couple of glimpses in pre-season, but a couple of things against Wolves, but overall he's not good enough. If it was me, I'd put Kulu in the 10, Johnson out on the right, Brian Hill and Son. I think you've got more threat in behind. Kulusevski's on that right, I don't think is his best position. He's just so predictable. Like when you're elite, like, and got ability like Salah, Mahrez, Messi, and Robin, and you can cut in on that left peg. You know what they're going to do. Kulusevski cuts in and doesn't shoot. He cuts in, waits, and then lays it off, and by then it's too late. He's getting so predictable now. Like if you're a fullback, it must be like you must be looking and going, hang on, if I just stand still and jockey him, like, and when he does go down to the byline and puts it back, 9 times out of 10 it works, but he rarely does that. So
are Tottenham fans accepting that Saka's better than him now, or are they still saying Kulusevski's better than Saka?
Yeah, so that's a different debate, isn't it?
I couldn't believe that.
When I said at the time, no one can argue that Kulusevski wasn't playing better football. As a player, Saka is clear. Let's just put it out there.
When did you say that?
When he first joined after the 3 months, he had more.
Oh, 2 years ago.
Yeah, that was when the debate. And now Arsenal fans, you know what they're like. Everything we say, we get crucified if it's not true.
I think everyone gets called up when they say crazy stuff. Like,
yeah, of course.
Let's be honest. It doesn't matter what happens to any of your players. You're going to compare yourselves to your rivals. I get it. But right now, Tottenham, you guys are very vulnerable because of your squad depth and some stupidity from red cards from your main man, Christian Romero. And he's now.
You've been dying to say that, haven't you? You've been dying to say that.
No. It's the truth, though, and I haven't been dying to say it. I've been saying it's going to happen eventually. He's going to get a red card, or you're going to face some injuries, and both have happened at the same time. And you guys now have a kamikaze of problems to face at the exact same time. Both of your top center halves out again. Your main chance creator out again. You're facing an Aston Villa side who beat you last year at your ground convincingly, and they're currently 5th in the table. They beat you on the weekend. They go ahead of you to go 4th on the table. It's looking peak.
It's not sounding good, this, is it? Let's be honest. It's not sounding good.
No,
then we got City up next.
And I personally said after
I hope you beat them. I hope you beat City.
I personally said after you lost that Chelsea game and everything happened, that you guys were going to lose your next 3 games. This is game number 2. You're going to lose this game at home versus Aston Villa simply because Aston Villa are currently, with your injuries and your suspensions, a better overall team than you, in my opinion. You guys are the better club. You guys have more quality when fit, and you have a better 11 when fit. But at this moment in time, with your injuries and your suspensions, I think the Aston Villa team, toe to toe, will be able to take it to you at your own ground, and I think they'll beat you on the day.
I must say, I do fancy Villa, and I just think that, like we said, that front three is going to have a field day against a couple of defenders that, let's be real, haven't really shown in any form that they're good enough. I think Ollie Watkins, Diaby, and who was the other one you mentioned, Henry? Was it Bailey?
Yeah, Bailey's pace
Yeah.
up against
Yeah.
whichever.
I agree.
See, the thing is, what Emery does quite often is he at times in the games he'll swap the wingers. If you've got Musa Diaby running up against your doggy, you're like, okay, that looks exciting. If you see Bailey running, if you see for some reason, you know, he running up against Davis or Dyer through the middle, it is only one winner. We might as well just get bent over a barrel now because in a pace race, it's just absolutely ridiculous. Do you know he's the fastest accelerating player in Europe? He's faster accelerating than Mbappe. Diaby.
Well, I love him, man. I wanted him badly at Arsenal
He's
this time.
class.
And we got
We
Kai
don't need him
Havertz.
though.
Oh, Jesus.
We
Gal,
don't
we've
need
got to have him, man. Saka gets injured. We've got no right winger. We've got Nelson.
We need to talk about Saka as well, by the way.
Huh?
What like it was trending on Friday, right? Is Bukayo Saka world class?
I don't
No.
care.
No.
Yes or no, is he?
No.
I don't think it matters.
Well, just as a debate, is
No,
yes
you
or
know,
no?
that is Egal's way of saying no, he's not, but I can't admit.
You want to know something? I personally think my definition of world class, Bukayo Saka doesn't feel it yet because he hasn't won anything. Once he same way how I was saying Harry Kane is not world class or Son is not world class.
Hang on.
Harry Kane is not world class.
No, because he hasn't won anything.
So does that make Ryan Bertrand because he won the Champions League world class?
No, obviously there's different levels to it. So I'm being flippant when I say this, but the reality is Harry Kane. You could question his criteria.
But being world class, in order to be world class, you have to have played for one of the best 2 or 3 teams in any league in the world. If you haven't, it doesn't matter. You can't be world class.
Okay, so this is where now we can have this conversation. So if you're going to say that Bukayo Saka has to be one of the top 5 wingers in his position or to be considered world class, then I do consider him world class. If you're going to say he has to be the best in his position to be considered world class, he's not the best in his position. And
top 3.
If you want to say top 3, name 3 Mo Salah.
Maybe for players, maybe for positions
okay,
where
so if it's even if the criteria. Okay, so now we're talking. Even if the criteria is top 3, then Bukayo Saka is world class because I think he's top 3 in his position. I don't think Ousmane Dembele is better than him. I don't think.
What about Sane, Rodrigo?
I don't think they're better than him. I think Saka.
Sane's got 20 goal contributions already.
I think Saka and Salah are the 2 best right wingers in the world right now.
Not Rodrigo.
Rodrigo, no. Rodrigo's not better than Saka. And even if you want to put him in the conversation, you can put him 3rd if you want. The reality of the situation is,
like we're talking about big moments. He comes off the bench and gets a brace against Man City, puts him in a Champions League final.
Are we comparing a guy who starts week in, week out for one of the best teams?
He does start week in, week out when he's fit. He's just injured at the moment. He started every game. He hasn't come off the bench yet for Real Madrid. He started every game.
Rodrigo has not been doing
the biggest team in the world on the right, winning Champions Leagues.
This is what I mean. So if you want to go based off trophies, let's go based off trophies. But if you want to go based off perspectives of where you put him in top 3, it's a subjective decision. Personally, for me, I have Saka as top 3 in his position, easy.
No, I think Rodrigo's come off the bench once or twice. I could be wrong on that, but he's still class. What about Sane then? Sane 8 goals and 6 assists in the Bundesliga and scored in, I think he's either scored or assisted in every Champions League.
Where's he playing? Is he playing on the right now?
Is he a right winger or a left winger?
He's playing on the
right. On the left, but fair enough, he's a right now, is he?
They've got Coman on the left, they've got Musiala at 10, and then Harry Class, you know the rest through the middle. Who, by the way, he's the best player in Europe.
Okay,
right?
Harry Class, you know the rest.
Best player in Europe right now.
Man's moving like expressions.
He is. Harry Kane right now, he's the best player in Europe, without a doubt.
There's a guy named
Harry Kane is world class. There's no.
One second. There's a guy named Jude Bellingham.
And look at Kane. Kane has got 25 goal contributions.
Yeah, that's a good shout, Henry. To be fair, Kane has fucking smashed it.
If I'm not mistaken,
he's gone over to Germany and said, "Lewa who? Who is that?"
If I'm not mistaken,
every goal record smashed.
Jude Bellingham was the most informed player in the world. No,
not at the moment. It's Harry Kane.
Yeah, Harry Kane's a striker. You got a midfielder who's played 11 games.
He's got
actually,
9.
I'm not sure that's true. I think the number 1 striker in the world on form is the fella from Stuttgart.
Not overall goals.
Garassi. Garassi, I think, he scored more goals per game or more goals per minutes than anyone. I think he's the.
Yeah, but he's not doing anything in Europe.
Hey, honestly, it's
can't.
debatable.
Yeah,
It's debatable.
Kane's getting
Let me bring it back to Bukayo Saka. Henry, let me bring it back to Bukayo Saka. So, take away trophies, because clearly you rate Harry Kane as world class, even though he hasn't won a
let's talk
trophy
just
yet.
on ability.
So, if you want to just go based off ability, what does Bukayo Saka have to be? Does he have to be top 3 in his position? Because if you're saying top 3 in his position,
That's what I want to know. Definitions.
Is he a
did
better
a show on
footballer
this
than
the other
Mahrez?
day. I did a
Is he
show on
better
this the other
footballer?
day.
What?
I think top three in your position.
One second,
is
Henry.
low
Did you just
unless
mention
you are in a
Mahrez?
position-
Yeah, let's rewind 6 months. Mahrez was balling out in a Champions League final.
Bro, what are we doing here?
Is Saka a better footballer than Riyad Mahrez as a footballer?
Not
Bro,
this
is
season.
Mo Salah a better footballer than Riyad Mahrez? What are we doing here?
No, I'm just saying, as a footballer right now, can you say Bukayo Saka is better than Mahrez?
I could say the same thing about Mo Salah.
Yeah, I know you can. That's why I'm asking you. Is he a better footballer than Riyad Mahrez?
It's a redundant statement because you don't have to be a better footballer.
Okay, so right now,
you don't have to.
If
you
you're
don't have to
picking
be.
a world 11, do you pick Saka over Riyad Mahrez?
Yes, 110%.
Potts?
Nah, man, I love Mahrez. I love Saka.
Okay.
But
Mahrez is literally retired in Saudi Arabia.
All right. He's not really retired. That's a bit disrespectful to the league. You could put an 11. I bet you could put an 11 in Saudi together to beat Arsenal.
I think retired is actually fair because you got people taking handballs just to get the ball away from a defender. It's mad.
Hang on. Just because okay. Does that mean Messi's retired because he's in the MLS? Even
Basically, Messi's not in a serious league anymore.
It's a really bad example, mate.
He's
It's a really bad.
retired.
Don't use Messi to justify your point, Henry.
Nah.
Okay, what about Cristiano? Okay, what about Ronaldo, who scored more goals than anyone in Europe?
Bro, do you think anyone rates those goals the same way
Look
they
at
rate?
he's playing with Talisca. Who
Bro,
even is Talisca?
I don't think people look at Ronaldo's goal record in Saudi Arabia and say, "Wow, he's keeping on pace with Erling Haaland and Harry Kane." I think people look at it as, "Yeah, he's in an easier league. Of course, he's going to score goals."
Okay,
I think there's criteria. I think we're going off with the topic.
Back to the question. You would take right now Bukayo Saka based off this season's performances over Riyad Mahrez.
All right, okay, Henry. Name me all the right wingers that are better than Saka. That's an easier question.
Sane, Rodrigo, Mahrez, and Salah.
Okay, so you think
this
top 5
season
in the
we're
world?
talking about this season?
Yeah. As in, like right now. You're
right now.
You're doing it based on form.
But if you're not doing it based off form, then what are you doing it based off of?
So you picked you picked Sane, Salah, Rodrigo, and who?
Mahrez. In a big game, are you trusting Bukayo Saka or Riyad Mahrez?
What has Mahrez done this season?
Well, scored for Al Ali. what else do you want him to do? He's playing in Saudi. What else do you want him to do?
If we're going right now, then obviously Mahrez is kind of out of the equation, out of the picture. But as a footballer, I rate Mahrez highly. But I think
I don't even know how many goals he scored for
You
Saudi.
can rate Mahrez on his past success outside of Europe.
Yeah, on this season, I don't know. Diaby
he's got 5 goals.
Let me ask you a question.
He's even got more goal contributions than Saka.
Let me ask you a question. The greatest Egyptian footballer of all time, Abu Treka. Do we consider him one of the best players in football history? No,
just like you don't consider the guy that scored 100 goals for Iran.
Because he never played in Europe.
Okay, right. But Riyad Mahrez has got 5 goals and 7 assists in 13 games. So he's got more goal contributions.
And you want to know something?
This season.
I don't think majority of people across the world right now, if you ask them who has more GA right now, Riyad Mahrez in the Saudi league or anybody in another league.
Okay,
of course,
let's rewind 6
they
months.
would expect Riyad Mahrez to have more GA in that league. He's in the Saudi league, bro. You throw Bukayo Saka in the French
let's rewind 6 months. Go back to 6 months, the end of last season. Forget what they've done this year in Al Ali and Saka's performances. You're still taking Riyad Mahrez.
No, you're not.
But Potts?
Listen, I'll say it like this because it's easier for me, right? If I'm signing a player, I'm signing Saka.
Yeah, because he's younger.
Because he's younger, he's got potential.
But as a footballer, what
Mahrez has done, you can't deny what Mahrez has done, right? He's been unbelievable. He just won a treble, for goodness sake, right? And he's a big part of that as well because people forget about that. He scored hat-trick.
So is Messi still a top 3 winger in world football?
Messi will always be number one for me, mate. I don't care how old he is. If he's 107,
Okay,
he's
so
always
then
going to be number one.
your
But no,
criteria are different than
let
mine.
me say it like this, because I had this debate the other day and I did a show on it, right? And this is what I've got to. World class for me is different to what everyone else is. Everyone's world class.
Yeah, subjective.
Everyone's right. Everyone's got a different definition. For me, world class is you come into that side, you start 100%. You are the starter in that team. And I don't think Saka's that guy, right? So for me, in the Premier League, I
starts for
think
most
we
teams in the world.
decided that Alisson is a world-class player, that Rodri is a world-class player, that Haaland is a world-class player, that Kevin De Bruyne is a world-class player, and that Salah is. They were the only five that we could think of. There was other people like Ruben Diaz we mentioned, Kyle Walker was mentioned, Trent, Robertson, all these guys were mentioned, but we had debates more about them. Them five are the ones we spoke, and I actually agree with that. I don't think there's anybody on this or in the chat or in this one that can say those five players don't get into any team in the world and start and make them better. That's just the way it is. So in Premier League, they're the five for me, 100%.
Well, there's only 5. 1 second. So Tottenham have 0 world-class players. Arsenal
Yes.
have 0 world-class players.
Yes.
Chelsea have 0 world-class players.
Yeah, there's only City and Liverpool.
Liverpool have 2. Man City have a couple, and the rest of the league has 0. That's what you're saying.
Hang on, so
I don't
Liverpool have
think-
2. So Alisson, Salah, and Van Dijk.
No, Alisson and Salah were agreed. This is what we agreed. Whether this is open to you guys to disagree or agree. We agree in the whole of the Premier League, there are 5 clear world-class players that cannot be deniable. You cannot debate them.
So
right?
Rodri.
And they are Alisson, Rodri,
Yep.
Kevin De Bruyne, Salah, and Haaland. They're
You want
the
to know
5.
something? Based on my criterias, Arsenal has multiple world-class players at this moment in time. And I will name those.
Oh, Gal, come on.
No, based on my criteria, you have to be top 5 in your position. So Bukayo Saka's top 5 in this position. You have Saliba, who's top 5 in this position. You have Martin Odegaard, who's top 5 in this position. And last year, Thomas Partey.
Martin Odegaard is top 5 players in the world as a cam.
Yeah, last season he was. And just going into this season, he hasn't been good. So
Let me ask you one question, Gal.
What we do?
Go ahead.
Just on Odegaard. You got to pick a 10 in your team. Odegaard or James Maddison?
I would take Odegaard.
Potts?
I already had this debate and everyone laughed at me because I said Maddison.
Fair enough.
I love Odegaard, but I think Maddison is unreal. I wanted him and I love him, and now I hate him because he's gone to Tottenham. Sean, what about you? Would you have Maddison or Odegaard?
Madison.
Okay.
Who they
Are
like?
you saying that?
Odegaard had a very,
Are you saying that as a
very
Spurs
good year.
fan, or are you saying that as a football fan though? Because you laughed when you said it.
And as a football fan. Yeah.
Okay.
No, listen, I think Odegaard's a great player, but the way that Igal just suggested he was in the top 5 cams in world football.
You got to respect it because at least he backs his players.
No, it's chest. It's chest. But
Like, it's
Yeah, guys,
Triple H
chest,
settings.
I-
Hammer
I-
Anderson,
I-
Hammer Anderson is jealous, mate.
Listen,
About chest.
guys, Declan Rice is knocking on the door.
Yeah.
Who would you
It's
say are
not-
top 5 DMs? If Rice isn't in there, so Rodri,
There is no top 5 DMs. There's one DM that's world class. The rest are shit.
Kimmich,
Kimmich is not world class.
Well, you
so
have
it's
to be,
just Rodri.
if the definition is best 5 in the world, there has to be at least 5.
Okay.
That's how the rules
right now, I don't think that's one position that is tough to rate 5. Think about it.
You got Rodri.
Same as right back. It's tough to find 5 right backs to consider world class. I think it's different for each category.
That's fair enough. Do you know what, right? Right backs, and I honestly believe it when I say this. If he could stay fit, I think Reece James will be phenomenal. I honestly think he is absolutely exceptional. But he just can't stay fit. But I don't think there's any others that are like clear. And this is why I'm saying I'm not saying there's only 5 world-class players in the Premier League, but there's 5 that you can't deny aren't. And that's why I brought it up. So, and it's different opinions. If you want to talk about the top 5 players, then Igal's got a point. Saliba's up there. He's definitely in the top 5 centre-backs in world football right now. You know, Saka is definitely one of the best. So you just admitted it, Henry. He's number 5 when it comes to right wingers. So that's fair. But
That's my opinion. I'm going to get clipped up by a gal saying Saka's not in the top 5. Or someone in this chat's going to clip me out. I know how this
Just
works.
say Saka's world class. It's okay.
I personally don't think he is. I think he will be.
Listen, we got to wrap up, man, because we've been going for hours. Let's just get predictions for Spurs and Villa. Henry, what are you going for, bro?
That all being said, I'm still going 2-1 Spurs.
You're gonna lose 2-1, 2-0 to Aston Villa.
Okay. Sean.
2-2 again. But if I'm honest, I want to say what I really think, which is 2-1 Villa, but I can't do that. So I'm going to say 2-2.
Can we get that on just a big screen? Sean just giving
No,
Villa
just 2-2. Desmond 2-2. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Villa. I think Villa will win.
I'm the only one that's backing a
Right.
Spurs win.
Nah, I think you guys are right. I think Tottenham have got too many problems to answer. And I don't think we got enough.
Well, Sean, if you
How
can't see it,
how dare you make fun of Patrick for not backing his team on a stream, and then now you're not doing it?
What's that?
Well, listen, Henry a couple of weeks ago was buzzing, mate. He's like, I think we might do this year, Sean.
All I said was, could we?
I
That is it.
actually think we could do this.
Hang on about Gal, so are you just calling me out for having a chat for challenging Patrick on your stream about Tottenham Arsenal? Yeah, but the circumstances are wildly different. We can barely put together an 11. We can barely put it's a slightly different circumstance.
Just
No, I'm just messing with you.
I was buzzing,
messing.
right?
You're my guy.
There isn't a huge amount of difference between what you did last year in the first 12 games and what we did in our first 10 games. Before we got the injuries, there wasn't a huge difference.
There is one. We've had our manager and a core of that team together.
Yeah,
for
but in
years.
terms of you're right. But in terms of player for player, you're not like lightning clear. You were better, but you're not lightning clear at that stage.
I would say that having some familiarity amongst the team is a massive deal. That's my main thing.
Let's see, man.
People are saying 4-1 Villa. I mean,
also, the main difference is I think the thing that made you guys the most, change you guys the most, is your defensive line being a lot better. That's the biggest part of your transformation. Not only Maddison, of course, but your defensive line was the biggest key.
Yeah, Van der Ven's been one of the best.
Van der Ven's been one of your best players. Henry, what did you say?
Even Doggy.
What did you say in the chat? You were laughing at or something? What was that?
Hang on, why am I being big screened? I just said I was laughing at Villa. Villa are not winning this game 4-1. You're absolutely tapped if you think they are, Barry.
All right, cool. That's all I needed. Okay, cool. Let's wrap it up there. Listen, big up, Egal. Thanks for coming on, my friend. How can people follow you, mate?
Egal Talks Football on YouTube if you want to check me out, and if you're sick of my face, it's okay. And then EGTV Egal on Twitter.
There we go, man. Absolutely. Make sure you go follow Egal. Always a real one. Let's big up and get him subscribed up. Sean, what are you up to, mate? Spurs Talk Show.
Yeah, Spurs Talk Show. Do my daily walks with my dog, talk about whatever's going on with Tottenham, and then occasionally have lively streams. But ultimately, mainly my dog stuff. Yeah, she's the star of the show. I'm just a participant in it. Appreciate you having me on, mate. It's always fun. Thank you for having me.
No, you're always welcome, man. You know that. Come on. People tune in for your dog. I mean, that's brilliant. That's such a good thing, tuning in to see your dog.
I encourage everybody who is a streamer, a content creator that has a dog, bring the dog into your content more. People will come for the dog and they'll stay for you. And that's,
do you know what, Sean, right? Last night, and this is a real damn, people that watched last night's show will know this. I sat there and I was like, am I sending people to sleep? Someone is snoring in the background, right? And I thought it was Dave. I thought maybe it was someone in like one of his old relatives of like fallen asleep. Yeah. It was Joe from Leeds, just Joe. It was his dog. His pug had fallen asleep, or his French bulldog had fallen asleep and it's snoring.
Perfect. Always a conversation piece. Whatever the dog's doing, everyone wants to know. Get yourself a dog. Your subs will go.
There you go, man. That's what's going to happen. Adam says, does your dog play centre back? I love that.
I've got good ball control for sure. Yeah.
And last but not least, Henry, it's always fun, mate. Always a good debate when you're on. How can people follow you, mate? What you got coming up?
Yeah, pleasure as always. Just at Henry Wright TV. If anyone wants to see some shameless Spurs content, I've got a video dropping tomorrow about how we can beat Aston Villa. And if you can't see what Postecoglou is doing, you can F off down the Emirates. It's as simple as that.
Love it, mate. Love it. Make sure you do us a favor. Make sure you like and subscribe, people. Thanks for all being with us. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the comments. Chat was lit as always. Much appreciated. If you do like a bet, make sure you go over to Bread and Honey Bets. Link is in the description. And we will see you next time. We'll be back tomorrow night. Take it easy, people. We're out of here. Peace.